Welcome to What Lies Ahead. I'm your host, Chris Raffini, lead singer of the Long Island band Overthrow. On my podcast, I explore everything related to the hardcore scene through the eyes of artists, promoters, and record labels. As always, please like and or subscribe on all social media platforms. Today, I'm joined by Andrew, the lead singer of the New York hardcore band Combust. Since the beginning, they've played all over the world and have dropped their highly anticipated LP, Belly of the Beast, on Triple B Records. We'll talk everything regarding the record and what's next for the band moving forward. Andrew, next coming on, bro.
Yo, thank you for having me, man. Thank you
Of
for the kind words about the record too.
course, man. The new record kills. We were talking about it before, and I'm glad I got you because you guys are always playing, touring,
Yeah,
and
no, it's a busy next couple months for sure.
yeah, and it's good. You guys, as long as going back to we were talking before, my band had an opportunity to play with you guys at the old AMH with Strife and Shutdown Soldiers. That show was awesome. You guys killed it that night.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
You
yeah, that was
guys,
a cool show for
it was
sure.
an awesome show, and you guys have
Yeah.
killed it. Been killing it since with the drop of the new record, and every other release that you had. So, I guess what I like to start with you is let's talk with your history music. Because I know you like a lot of old school New York hardcore. You're into a lot of the newer stuff. You're into a lot of different stuff. But let's talk your history of music. What you remember, music that you first started getting into that kind of built to hardcore, and then what led to your first show.
Yeah, so I mean I uh I definitely like always felt the connection to more aggressive music even when I was younger. Like I mean, I'm sure everyone has this same story, but like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was like a big jumping off point. Um I didn't know what it was when I was listening to it though. I was just a young kid like and I remember even in Vice City, Grand Theft Auto, I was like super drawn to like the metal station and but again, I didn't really know anything about it. And then I remember being super into Eminem for a while and then I just found a friend in in middle school, 7th grade about and he was like, "Oh, you gotta get into this stuff." So then he showed me like, metal bands and System of a Down and Iron Maiden and like I was instantly hooked on that. And then from there, I told my cousin, who's like, way old, not way older than me, but you at the time it seemed like he was leagues older than me. But I was like, I'm getting into bands, like I'm starting a band, I'm gonna play bass, and he was just like, you gotta listen to this. And then he gave me just a shit ton of burnt CDs with like Cro-Mag, Sick of It All, Agnostic Front, Madball, everything that you could
All the
imagine
classics,
from
yeah.
hardcore and
Mhm.
punk. Yeah. And then he started taking me to shows, and it was just kind of like up and running from there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you
Yeah.
said you played because obviously you sing for Combust, so you played bass. Was there any bands prior to Combust that you played bass for?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing in bands way before Combust. I started a band when I was a kid with just like, friends who were in the metal and like I played bass and like fronted that band. So I
Mhm.
was like the bassist and the lead singer.
Good.
Um and that was just like a straight up metal band, kid shit. And then I joined a couple of like my first hardcore bands on bass. So I played in this one band that was more on like the early 2000s, mid 2000s melodic tip called this band like Look at Me Now, and that was like kind of like a Champion Have Heart vibe. And then I joined this band Kids Carry Germs on bass as well, and that was more of like Gorilla Biscuits, like punk leaning kind of stuff. Yeah, and there was just like a couple bands that I started, like another band that I fronted, and then just I played in a bunch of bands on drums and bass, and until the lead up of Combust eventually in 2017.
Yeah. So how did Combust form then from that? Because your first release was 2018. I'm
Like the
demo,
tail
was it?
end of 2017.
20 episodes. Okay. So how
Yeah,
did
like I
Combust
think
form?
no, it's fine. It was like November or December the
Okay.
demo came out.
Hmm.
Um, So I had a band for a while that I sang in called Vice, and then I was in bands like I said, like that band Kids Carry Germs, and then Vice and Impact and this other band Nerves End that I play bass for. So I was in all those bands with like a friend from childhood who's the drummer of Combust, and we went to school together. We liked all the same bands, and we were just always like, yo, like when are we gonna start a band that's like just straight up like New York, like just exactly what we want, like 80s New York hardcore stuff. Like, And we would talk about it all the time in school, and like it just kind of never came to fruition. And then once all of our other bands broke up, and I like had a minute to step away from the band Vice, that wasn't that like I used to tour all the time with that band. And then I had a minute to step away, and I was like, yo, I finally want to, like, I have a name, I have a song in my head. So then I hit up Dave and I was like, yo, I got this one song in my head, I have a name, let's like recruit some people and make it happen. So
Yeah, and how you just described Combust Sound is that's what it is. Like, and you mentioned you got like that mixtape, I think it was, and you mentioned Madball and Chromax, all those
yeah,
bands, and that's you guys. Killing Time, you know,
yeah,
that's you guys. You are New York hardcore to a T, but with your own style, of course, and your own, and your own vocal style, which is super super catchy with it. So when you guys got together, the idea was to form a band with the sound that you described. What was the writing process like? And how has that evolved over time? Like when you guys get together, does someone come in? You actually play different instruments. So do you ever
yeah.
come in with music? Or is the
So
music finished? How does it work?
yeah, so I've like so Combust was the first time I ever kind of like wrote guitar riffs myself. I never really did that with any other band that I was in ever. It seemed like way too intimidating for me, and I was always more leaning towards writing lyrics because I fronted a band for so long. And and frankly, I just didn't think I was like good enough to
Mm.
write songs. I was like, I barely play bass well, like fuck it. But yeah, so the thing that was cool about Combust is like I knew exactly what I wanted sonically, and like I had this song. This is gonna sound cheesy, but like I had this song in my head that I like made up in the shower one day, and I
Yeah,
had and that would what would be like and end up eventually be the song Combust on the demo. So like I had it in my head and I was like, oh, I gotta like hum this out, and then I eventually put it to guitar. I have this like it's over in the corner. I have this terrible guitar that I didn't even have a pick for. I would play it with a nickel. I was a mess, bro. so so I finally, I finally came to Dave and I was like, yo, I have this one song. Um, and then we got the guitar player that's been in the band since day one, Peter, in the band. And then once we started kind of like forming the demo round and like I said, I knew exactly what I wanted. I remember going to Peter and being like, yo, I want a song that's like that could have been on Brightside mixed with like even more Iron Maiden influence.
that's cool.
So and then he wrote the song Another Fool that's on the demo. And then everything just kind of like snowballed like that kind of. But I mean, like I said, from the jump I was just like I want a band that like sounds like we're a New York hardcore band because New York doesn't have that right now for new bands. So like we need to fill that space.
Yeah, I'm going to date myself going to shows, but even prior to that, some of the bands you mentioned, but like mid to late '90s when I was going to shows, you guys fit right in with that. But
Yeah.
you sound like 2025. That's what the
Well,
cool
yeah,
thing
of
of what
course.
you guys do is, which is awesome. It's not like you just have this old style, but no, you got a new twist to it. And it's great what you're doing with it. Um, you guys formed, you started building, you guys put a lot of releases out leading up to the to Another Life. Was that the plan? Like, all right, we'll throw a demo out. We had some singles. You guys had a lot of stuff that you built out until 2022
Yeah, I guess we did, right?
which is a
I
great
I don't
thing. It kept you
yeah,
active.
I don't know. I think like we were just kind of like Combust was never a full-time touring band. Like we all had like legitimate jobs at the time. Like we were all like all of us were working, and like I drove dump trucks for a living. The original bass player was like had like a real desk job, 9 to 5 shit. Um, Peter had a real job. Like we were just kind of like we were just doing it as every hardcore band started out. You know what I mean? We're just like, yeah, we just want to have fun, make some good tracks, and play cool shows with our homies. Like that's what it always is. And I think it just was at the core it was that. So we did like the demo, and then we were like, oh, let's I think after that came the 2 song promo,
Hmm.
and then because I think we were like, oh, I want like I want to show that like because probably at the time we were like, oh, the demo doesn't sound that great. Let's show like how we already stepped it up in like a year, you know? So I was like, let's do this 2 song promo and then like show some labels that we like a lot so we can do a 7 inch because we really want to do a 7 inch. And then we did the promo and then yeah, and then we did the first EP with Edgewood and then I think after that what we did like I think we did covers after that and then
Oh
we
yeah.
did like a single.
Hmm.
So I mean it was just like it's probably a mix of like COVID and us writing the LP. I mean, yeah, like we definitely had a bunch of stuff out for sure.
Yeah, it was cool, and it was great. It was always like something new was coming with you guys. So you obviously put out, you put out another life, but now you got Belly the Beast, which just dropped, which I actually want to get into and actually go over track by track with you
I'm so
about each
down with
song,
that.
which would be cool because it's each song almost has its own story. You got guest vocals on it that complement the songs perfectly. But how, like, before we talk about that, how did you connect with Triple B?
Um, I think so it's funny you say I was just talking to Sam about this the other day. I was like, yo, when we made that promo, I sent you I was talking to Sam, I was like, I sent you the 2 songs that we recorded in like 2018 and I emailed them to you. I didn't really know Sam at the time. But I was like, and you never responded. So So I think just what happened was, I mean, I remember Sam moved to New York and then like I kind of just like started making more friends and then I got introduced to Sam and then I think we at one point discussed possibly putting Another Life out on Triple B, but then I kind of already like made um the agreement with Connor and Cash Only to do Another Life with Cash Only because
Mhm.
I was hanging out with Connor all the time, so it was just more of like a organic kind of thing. He was like, "Yo, I'm starting a label," and he was a homie, and I was like, "Yo, let's do it," and he was kind of like helping me out with song structure on songs for Another Life, so it just made more sense. But
Right.
I remember Sam was like, "Yo, I wanted to put out Another Life," and I was like, "Oh, well, let's do the next one." So that's kind of just what happened there. We were just like, "Yeah, we'll do the next one." Um, but yeah, I mean, but that was also organic too, because I don't ever want to work with a label where I feel like it's not my homie. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's hardcore. You know what I mean?
You're
I'm
right.
not gonna like. I don't want it to feel like business transaction type shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm. No, you're right. You're right. It
Yeah.
seems like it's been awesome right now, like for you
No,
guys.
yeah. I mean, it's I don't ever want to like feel like I have to like I can't shoot a text to my homie and be like, yo, like this regarding the record, like, is this cool? Like, I don't know. Just feels weird.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And there's some other, other bands, friends and bands have had back then and even now that what you're describing is they didn't have that,
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
you're talking to someone when we put ours out, it was the same way. It was kind of the
Yeah.
same thing. Unfortunately, when we put our record out in the back in the 90s. So that's huge that you could do that and you have a nice working relationship. Um, in a way, you guys are friends, obviously, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like in terms of helping put the record out. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about Belly of the Beast here. So I want to definitely get into each track here, but did you guys go about structuring the album track list? Because there's a lot of songs. It's like, all right, this one's a good one. A Belly of the Beast sounds good to open. Let's end with some, like what's put in the middle. How did you guys, put that together before we get into the songs?
Damn. I don't really remember. That whole like writing an LP for me is like so stressful that I think I like suppress all the memories of it. No, I mean, I would like to say that we did it meticulous, but like really thinking about it, I'm like I wish I had it in my head where we were writing where I was like, "Oh, we need a good closer." I think it was kind of like last minute after everything was recorded, we were like, "Yo, how are we gonna order the track list?" And I
Hmm.
think I think honestly, it just came down to I want a really epic intro for the first song, and then like for the last song, I want something that feels like it would be ending the record. And like the last track, Atlas, is kind of the only song that had like a cool like fade out.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like with
well, the
with
song
with
that you
ringing
fucked.
out
Yeah.
and no other songs really had that. So I just felt like it kind of made the most sense, and it was kind of a more technical song too. Like it was just like
Mhm.
it just kind of felt right. We
Right.
didn't. I didn't go in like being like, oh, I knew this is gonna be, you know.
Yeah.
I think the only one that was super like, yo, this is gonna be the first track was Belly of the Beast.
And you knew you had it when you yeah, you put it out, you're like, this one's definitely open. It's a perfect track to open and open.
100%. I
Record.
said I was like, I want to make a song that's gonna open the record for sure.
Yeah, and that absolutely did. So now there's a lot of songs on the album, and so you sounds like you wrote this. Was it like going back 5 years ago and you kept writing songs, and you put out Another Life, or this was like you wrote this record? Was it like, or you
So
had songs?
yeah, I mean, well, we sat down and we are like, well, we're gonna write another record for sure. But I think the difference with this one was that I didn't get to. So with Another Life, it was kind of like me and Peter, the guitar player, kind of got together a lot. Just because of COVID,
Yeah.
kind of like so since I play drums and write the songs, I would kind of like write the riff, send it to him, and then we'd bounce ideas back, or like he'd write a riff and send it to me, and then we'd meet up and I'd get on drums and we'd hash out the riffs that we wrote that way, and then we'd kind of take the finished product to the whole band, or like the idea that we had to the whole band, and then we kind of like tack on ideas, and then kind of came after with structuring and stuff like that. But for this one, it was kind of like a lot. I'm not sitting here trying to say I'm taking credit for the whole thing or anything like that, but
Mhm.
a lot of it was a lot of it was a lot of my riffs. Peter definitely helped. He I think he wrote the whole track of Paid with Pain, besides the breakdown. So that was all him. But a lot of it was like me just kind of like beating myself to death, just being like sending riffs every day to everyone, and meeting up with Peter and kind of doing it on his computer and trying to do more of that. And then Justice got involved a little bit. We went to his crib in Baltimore and kind of showed him some tracks, and he gave us cool ideas. He was originally supposed to be on like more hands-on for it, but he was like dealing with like some health shit, so he wasn't able to. But the initial ideas that he did give us for the tracks that he was involved with were like really sick. But yeah, I mean, it was a process, and yeah, it put like I definitely there's so many unused riffs and unused songs for this too. Is like crazy.
That was actually my next question. Like, because you have a lot of songs, and it sounds like you guys just the ideas kept flowing. Like it wasn't difficult writing. It just everything was just happening very organically and
It
easy.
definitely seemed difficult at the time for
You're
sure,
going
but
through it,
I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
but there were definitely a lot of songs. Like I think like almost 6 songs got cut, and then
Wow.
the songs that weren't even fully finished, there's like fucking 30, probably like just unused riffs and parts.
Will any of them ever see the light of day?
Probably. I mean, yo, honestly, Peter has like been already sending me a bunch of riffs recently, so and
Yeah.
they're like kind of fully finished songs. So that might be super different from this one in the way that of the writing process for the next record, because Peter already like kind of wrote a bunch of songs that I'm like super stoked on.
Yeah, and you got the
The
whole
less
thing with
work I have to do, the better. That's awesome.
the whole thing too is just like you guys see, like you love it, and that's to me that's
Oh
what's
yeah.
cool. And what I mean by easy, it's just it's sometimes I speak with bands, you talk to bands, it's like it's hard coming up with some material, and you guys it's just still coming, and it even sounds like you have more stuff potentially coming, obviously in a little bit, but like already
Yeah.
ideas are flowing, you know.
I think that just kind of boils down to like I'm always in the pursuit of like I want us to make the perfect record. And like
Mm.
I'm not gonna be satisfied until I've done every kind of song that I want to do and every style, and like I don't know, I'm just kind of like, yeah, now we did this kind of vibe for Belly of the Beast. Now it's time to go back a little to the demo vibe. Now I want to do more of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's easy in the sense of that. I think I'm just like never stop like being inspired by hardcore bands, whether it be older ones or newer ones. So it's like, yeah, I wanna do more as much as I can.
That's awesome. So, like lyrically, was there a theme you were going for with this album? I know we're going to get into the songs in each of them, but lyrically, like, is it more of you hear the music and you have the idea, or did you ever have ideas written down and you kind of put the cadence over the music?
I
Or
think when it comes to lyrically, I think I just always kind of like jot down ideas of shit that maybe I'm like really feeling like passionate about at the time, and I'm like, oh, I want to write a song about this. So I'll just like put it in my notepad if I can't like sit and write a whole song in the moment, and I like just am thinking about stuff. I'll probably just be like, oh, I definitely need to write a song about this, and I'll write the like broad topic and like with some like ideas of lines that I know I want to come back to real quick, and then when I have time to write it, I'll start writing. But I, for me, I kind of need the music first before I put
yeah,
lyrics to it, because then it's hard for me to write out a whole song with just lyrics. I have to like have it all mapped out in my head with
right.
the rhythm and the cadence of it all is gonna be before I start writing the lyrics. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, it's easier. I do that too in a way. It's easier. Like sometimes you have lines and stuff like you said, or things you could build
Yeah,
around. But yeah, you need the kind of music to feel what you want to write about. But yeah, so let's talk the record that came out early March. So by the time this podcast comes out, you're talking 2 months, a little over 2 months, and you
yeah,
guys have played a lot since supporting it. But let's talk. So you said let's talk the first track. You got Belly of the Beast.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, uh, I mean, should I start like musically, lyrically? What
yeah,
do you?
music, whatever about it, how it came about. Yeah, whatever. What the song's about. All
I'm
that. Mhm.
gonna be dry snitching on myself with a lot of these probably. Like, so there's like, I mean, I feel like if you're like a core nerd like me, like you're gonna hear where this shit comes from. And again, I'm not gonna dry snitch on myself where I'm taking these riffs from. But like to me, that song is kind of like eight bands in one. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like there's Cro-Mags flavor, there's Dynamo flavor, there's Crown of Thorns flavor, there's some TUI flavor in there from Justice. There's there's maybe some Sepultura flavor. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say where.
Yeah.
There's Judge. Like I mean, like I think the whole intro to me in my head was like Judge, Crown of Thorns, Sepultura combined.
It's
And
cool.
that's how I kind of hit the intro in my head.
Mhm.
And then yeah, you know, just kind of like Judge Cro-Mags for the rest of the song. And yeah, just a lot of that. And then I mean lyrically it's just I feel like it was a lot of lyrical, like definitely Cro-Mags vibes too, but I mean I just wanted it to be kind of like get the influence of what it's like being a kid in New York City, and then like being a person now experiencing that and
Mhm.
growing up with the type of stuff that I saw within my family,
Uh-huh.
you know, and then just kind of combine all the stuff that like, you know, we're just like being shown on the news all the time living in the city, and just kind of enveloped in all that, and maybe some of like a lot of the early hip hop stuff from like the Wild Style video, like, you know, those freestyles, like a lot of that was kind of like, I want the imagery of that in my head, or like what Rolling Stones were talking about when
Mm.
in some of their songs. Like, it's a lot of stuff, like for sure. It's a lot of stuff kind of combining into one for that track.
Well, it's cool that you do that. Definitely the Judge Chroma. I hear that like what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but again with your own style. That's a fucking great song to open up the album with. Everyone's Enemy.
That's like, I feel like the I feel like the influence on that one is like so obvious that it's like it's obviously a breakdown track. Uh um and then as far as the lyrical theme, I mean it's like super straightforward. I just, you know, just wanted to write a song where it's right out on Main Street.
Hmm.
I mean that's how I've always lived. I've lived very loud, and like, you know, I stand on everything that I believe, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I'm not trying to, it's not trying to be on some like edge lord shit. It's just like I feel like there's a lost art of like really sticking by the things that you feel, even if it's not the majority opinion. I
Hmm.
feel like everyone is very quick to just hop on it onto everything, whether they like it or not, or whether they like, don't they like the person or not, they're still gonna be friends with them. Like, I don't know. It's just like the genuine aspect is very lost to me sometimes. So I feel like that track is just, had to be said kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. You know, swallowing swords you have, which you have got Mind Force on that one. So which is it, and he fits it perfectly there.
So, yo, it's funny. I did an interview recently where he's like, "Oh, it's so funny that Jay's on the song about swords and like
Yeah,
Mind Force has got like a monopoly on
yeah,
swords." I was
yeah.
like, I didn't even think of that until you just said it.
You know, my next question was going to ask, like, is that for getting Jay in there with the sword? I was like, was that part of it, or just it was
It
just a
just,
coincidence?
it's
Yeah,
just like a
that's
happy
funny you say that.
coincidence.
Uh-huh.
It's funny. So the way the title for that song was coming about was like I wanted so I had the idea. I wanted to make a song calling out dick riders and like big business type shit in hardcore music, and I was like, I love the song Ball Hugger, the title of it. I was like, I never heard that term before that song. And I've always wanted to know, like, did he just made that up, huh? Like, did he make that up? Did Eddie make up Ball Hugger?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
was that a thing before? Like, so he just made up his own term, and then I was like, how can I, how can I make like my own, not my own, but like, how can I make like a term that would be qualifying as like someone who's dick riding or dick eating someone balls? But
Mhm.
like, so I was just like, I kind of had like a whole list of like maybe terms I can go through, but then at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, swallowing swords sounds
It's
cool.
cool. No, it's
Fuck it.
cool. Yeah.
And that song has a funny musical background because that was like the one of the first songs I showed a homie of mine, and he was like, "Yo, this is like kind of out there musically." But I was like, "Yo, I just wanted to make a song like a Guns N' Roses song through the scope of Dynamo," and that's how that song got written.
That's awesome. I like how you, when you're going from song to song, the different bands you have in mind, but then you make it like you put the combust twist on it. It's really cool. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
mean
cool.
that's
And you hear
I mean
different style because every song has a different style on it. It's not, but it's got that New York
yeah.
hardcore, you know, to the,
I think that's like a main thing that like I try to be like aware of when I'm because I want Combust to have so many different flavors to it, but I don't want it to be like that high school band where it's like they're still trying to figure out what kind of band they are. So it's hard sometimes, but like I'm like I think if we like always keep our flavor in there, we'll have the influences of other shit without and it could still be cohesive.
sure. Next one is NYHC. Yeah, Danny Diablo. He fits it
Oh
perfectly.
yeah.
Sounds great,
Yeah,
great.
I'm, I'm
Especially
so
that
I'm
video
so
is
glad he
super
was
cool.
down for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that came out great. That's actually my favorite track on the record. Actually, I like that one a lot. Super catchy. I threw it on the What Lies Ahead podcast playlist actually because I
Hell
like.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so check
that
it out.
was an earlier song.
Yeah,
So we
you
did
put
that
that out a
like
couple of years ago, right? A year or two
yeah,
ago.
we did the promo. We just had like two songs that we were sitting on, and then Triple B was like, "Let's do a promo to like announce that you guys are gonna be on the label." So NYHC was written.
Perfect.
That song was uh like Metallica meets Dynamo too. A lot of Dynamo shit for sure, but like Dynamo, Iron Boots, Metallica, weird combo. But that's kind of like those little runs were kind
Yeah.
of like Kill 'Em All, Metallica type shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and as far as lyrically, I was just like, I think there needs to be a very loud song about New York hardcore because like we need to show people that New York hardcore still exists and there's new bands and there's people putting on for the community and the scene and like I think we need an anthem, bro.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how that song title hasn't been done. Madball did the EP
Yeah.
called it, but they didn't have a
Yeah.
song called it.
That's true. Yeah.
So
You
I
know,
was like,
you're
there
right.
needs to be a song.
Yeah, there never has been. I'm like, it's actually stopped me for a moment. I'm thinking about it, but it's super catchy as hell. Like it really is. Like the
Thank
first time I heard it, I was like singing it the whole day in my head. I'm like, the song
Hell yeah.
just catches you, you know. So that's a great one. Truth Hurts.
That's like another definitely breakdown vibe song to me when I hear it. It's just kind of like caveman shit.
Hmm.
It's like I think that song stands out a lot because like there's no fancy shit. The whole
Hmm.
song. That's just like that's just 80s New York hardcore to me.
Hmm.
There's no riffs. Like there's no little like licks, like metal licks. It's just like it's like the same four notes the whole time.
Right in the
Uh
face.
and then yeah, I mean yeah, I'd say breakdown and then like that's more of a lyrically personal song just about trying to figure out as you grow up where you fit in on the path that you're trying to go down and even though you made a lot of missteps and like you're kind of stuck in your ways maybe it's a lot of definitely like some personal bullshit depressive shit but we don't gotta get into
That
all
means a
of it.
lot when you're playing it live,
Yeah, of course, yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Fear in the Streets.
Super nihilistic mentality for me on this. So I mean personally like we live in a weird time in hardcore for me. I feel like when I was not to be old head guy, but like when I was going into hardcore, I didn't think like yes, politics are a big deal in hardcore music writing, but to the extent where it's like it's us versus them kind of deal. Not like you need to vote like for the Democrat guy, otherwise you're a bad person.
Uh,
I'm kind of always on my conspiracy theory shit,
uh-huh.
and I firmly believe that voting does not matter. I mean, I don't care if that's going to get me crucified. I just don't believe in it. I don't see how anyone in a position of power in politics is going to care about people like you and I because they just don't at the end of the day, no matter what story they're feeding you. So like I think it would do the world a lot better if they just like kind of focus on the progress they try to make in their own personal lives towards other people. But like as you can see, there's all of this shit fueling the terrible violence that we see all the time and like it's just always somehow rooted in political shit too. It's just like
Yeah.
and you see like nothing but madness on TV, on any news that you see is it's just always divide and that's what they want to do. They just want to like that's always been the name of the game for politics. They want to divide us and that's how
Yeah.
they're going to keep it to favor them,
Hmm.
And that's kind of I mean, there's probably like a million other themes within that song that I can talk about, but I'm not gonna do that at all. But yeah, and then as far as musical, that's like super Crown of Thorns Killing Time for
Hmm.
me. And then
You hear
maybe at
that?
the end,
Yeah.
yeah, and then maybe at the end, like some terror stuff in there too, for sure.
It's a cool theme lyrically where you went with it, though. Honestly.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I feel like that's like yeah, not to harp on it, but I feel like it's something that I feel like a lot of people are just not talking about at all. I feel like
mhm.
it's like a very hot, sensitive issue for people, but it's just like there's been 10 million songs written by the best bands about essentially that. Like it's us versus the government type shit. But I don't know. Whatever.
Great song, though, man. Our Own Breed.
That started off definitely about um I think like the thing that started I think like the first note was about certain older people who like have never contributed like to hardcore only in the sense of that they just wanted like the spot in this like in the spotlight and they never got it and they're just kind of bitter and then other people who are just like coming out of the woodwork who say they were down for all this time but like don't know shit but they're just like trying to grab a piece of our culture just because like it's hot now
Mm.
and they think that it's gonna further their own like weird agenda just to be attached to some underground culture. And I think that's just a weird ass way to move.
Mhm.
I think it's like coming at both sides of the spectrum too. It's like the people from the outside who were latching on, like you see random like social media icons just rocking an agnostic front shirt just because it's like cool, and then like you see mad people in hardcore be like, "Well, this is awesome." It's like, is it though? Because like we were kind of born on this being a counterculture.
Mhm.
I feel like every day we stray further away from hardcore being a counterculture, and that's why I loved it when I was a kid, and that's what drew me into it because I didn't like the shit on the outside, and I liked that we had our own thing. So that's definitely, our own breed,
Cool. That's cool. That's cool. And
Yeah.
it's funny you say that. Same thing too. When I was younger, got into going to shows, there was something about like felt like your own and like you're like group
Yeah,
of
dude.
people. It's
Like
just yeah, it just was something about it. Like
again, like not to be corny, but like this music was not meant for, people who think right, Like I mean, I don't know. Like I don't want to relate to someone who's fucking rich and famous and doesn't have cares in the world, I don't want them to be a part of our shit. They don't get it. They're not supposed to. It's not supposed to be exposed to them. This is like, what we do is secret type shit. I thought, like, but yeah.
it is. It's funny too. Like I remember back then too. You're walking around, you're out, or you're somewhere, and you see someone wearing a hardcore shirt. It's almost like holy shit. It's like, and you see when you say something to them, it's almost like this weird like nod.
Because you're like, oh, this person has the
Yeah,
same ideas and values
yeah,
as me. Because I can tell, but
for
now
sure.
it's yeah.
Tiger Style too.
Mad important track for me. Uh Definitely a big Madball vibe. Definitely like Madball, sick of it all, definitely. Um, I would say I would say that song is very important because it's about Staten Island.
Mhm.
And it's essentially just so like there's a band CR from Staten Island
Yeah, man.
and they had a song called Tiger Style, and that was more about their song was about like the public transportation system kind of, and but I was just like I want to name a song Tiger Style too, and that song's just about kind of how like Staten Island's always been stepped on, whether it be dumb shit talk from like other boroughs of just normal people or like people in hardcore never putting respect on Staten Island. And then it's just kind of like, yeah, you don't put respect on us, but we were the only band for a minute putting on for New York City up
Mhm.
until like post COVID.
Mhm.
And now we're kind of like the people that are going out and traveling and putting on for NYHC and all these places. But we're the people who you shitted on
Mhm.
and never gave respect to, So it's kind of like it's like our triumph song, like, yo, we're taking back respect for Staten Island.
That's cool. That's cool, Mick. Crossed off.
It's like my take on trying to do um like a demise Marauder song, kind of. And the original idea was supposed to be me and Beto were gonna write the riffs together and then have Cheeky sing over it with me. But Beto was busy and like it just was got too hectic in the time frame that we needed it. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna rip off some demise shit and see what happens, see where it goes from there. And then yeah, so that like lyrically would be like kind of my take on Telltale,
Cool.
but like make it like way more kind of like unrealistic violent because I never go that way. I never like I usually write very literal songs, but this song was like, why can't I just be like why can't I act out my fantasies of wanting to fucking cut someone's tongue out in a song? Fuck.
That song came out. That song's fucking really good. Paid with Pain.
That song is the song that Peter wrote musically. I from the moment I heard it, I was like, oh, this is like a Madball track for sure. Um, that's like that song is important to me because I feel like it's super reflective on the way that a lot of people in my generation and the generation younger than me kind of feel now, where it's they just are kind of like, how can I get the most by doing the least? And like they don't take pride in kind of like appreciating the things that they do or how they get to a place with hard work or like it might like I don't know. I love putting in work when it comes to anything I do really, and like especially being in a band. I love the feeling of like building something from the fucking ground up and seeing the progress. You know what I mean? And like yeah, eating shit from the beginning is like just another part of the process, but That's what makes it so much better. But like now we look up to people who literally do nothing of substance and are just rich from doing nothing of substance. That's
Mhm.
insane. It's very post-apocalyptic. Like it's like there are rich and famous people who just sit in front of a camera and just like live like in a room. That's crazy.
Mhm.
So that's what that song's about.
Yeah, it's a cool song. Two more. Distorted Dreams.
That song's about kind of like just like how I feel like I just want to do the most with the time that I have,
Mm.
plain and simple. And then like kind of elements of friends who have dropped out of hardcore music and like they kind of look down on it or like look down on the way that I live because I put so much passion and effort into hardcore. But like, we used to be the same kind of person, but now you think you're above it just because you bought into this idea that you have to be a certain type of way. You know what I mean? To live
Mhm.
your life. It's a cop out, you know?
Mhm.
So, and it's weird. It's like a weird dynamic trying to be around those friends still. You know what I mean? Like, because they're your boys, and you have love for them, but it's just like when they make you feel like you're kind of lesser than them just because you like care about something a lot that they used to care about. It's kind of, it fucks with your head.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
and as far as like musically, I'd say that's just like my take on a Killing Time song for sure. When I hear it, I even that like swing beat at the end,
Yeah.
that yeah, that's like breakdown Killing Time stuff for
But
sure.
the last one you kind of talked about, we talked about it before, but like bring it up. It ends off the record. Atlas, which is like a perfect song to end off the record with.
I have to give a big shout out to Dynamo for that because this is like this will be the only song that I dry snitch myself on. That's like not note for note, but it's heavily influenced by a Dynamo song that was never released officially. It's only been played live, and when I heard it, I was like, dude, I need to use that riff somehow. So I just kind of like changed it around, and yeah. So big respect to everyone in Dynamo. Rest in peace, Carl Masha. I mean, like that song. The way I felt about it was like this song is so cool that it needs to be repurposed and put out into the world. So again, I didn't steal it note for note, bar for bar, anything like that. I just kind of took it and put our own twist on it. But like I felt like it needed to be heard for sure. And then like the breakdown part is super like just look around, sick of it all. And then yeah, I mean that song is another personal one for sure. Very personal when it comes to like the path that you lead when you do things like go on tour for months at a time and you don't make money and you're trying to figure out your fucking life.
You guys, you like I said, are on. We're going to get into your set list in a moment, but to end off with Belly of the Beast, which has been out, it's going to be out a couple of months now, and it's doing great. And see, you can tell with your shows that now you can watch on YouTube and Instagram that you guys document with your stuff. But what was cool about what we just did, what I at least enjoyed about it, I'm sure people are going to also, is the passion that you had for each one of the songs that you described and the different lyrical themes for each one of them. It's not the same thing, but just another version of it. You spoke about 12 completely different things
Yeah.
within the record, which I think is pretty awesome. Like the way that was put together.
Thank you. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like I mean it's definitely a theme in one of the songs where I feel like there's not a lot of bigger bands, and I don't want to say this in like an insulting way because I mean there are bands who are saying real shit and they're my homies, but there's a lot of bands where I feel like what are you using this platform to like talk about? You know what I mean? So I feel like it's important to just like say some real shit. And I feel
Mhm.
like the substance of lyrical content now is like so lost on a lot of bands, and I feel like it's not being pushed on the newer bands that like, yo, there's like a lot of meaning you can put into these songs, and it doesn't have to be just incoherent bullshit. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
It's
So
important. Yeah, it's
yeah,
absolutely important, man. So now you're obviously you're out playing a lot with with the new record. You just got back. You're going back out again, and then you got some
yeah.
more stuff going, which is great. So how do you guys go about Because this last little run you did, you went down south, right? You went, yeah, right. So this little,
So yeah, we went down to Florida, Atlanta, then back up for
then
UB.
came back up, right? So how are you structuring your set lists now? Because the new record's out. Uh, how are you adjust? How are you adjusting? Are you playing obviously a lot of stuff off this? What are you pulling from older stuff? How you going about that?
Dude, it kind of sucks because we have so much shit now, right? So we have a demo, a promo, an EP, an LP, and another LP,
Yeah,
and like I want to play all of it, but our songs are kind of longer than your average hardcore band. Like our songs average at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not trying to do a fucking half-hour set
right.
because kids now will fucking kill themselves. So so I mean now it's like we kind of got to pick. I mean, we throw in some shit every now and again. It's kind of just like what we're feeling in the moment. But I want to play the new songs, obviously. And we've been playing a lot of those songs for so long now. It's like I'm glad that we could play the new songs, but yeah, we'll like kind of just develop a set where it's like, all right, let's play a couple songs off Another Life. Let's play a couple songs off Belly of the Beast. Maybe if we're lucky, we can squeeze in an old, like a super old song or two here or there. Kind of
Do
is what
you
we're
do
on
you
now.
look at streams ever where you are? You know, like on Spotify for artists, and which is so
I
like
try.
obviously look something I never knew of back in the '90s, obviously, but
I know,
yeah,
right? Isn't
it's a
that
big piece of it now. Like I look at it now before we play, but do you look at it like, oh shit, this song is really streaming well at this place, or you're going more on feel?
I try not to like get caught up in the stream thing because I feel like at the end of the day it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like there's so many bands that have all these crazy streams, but then I'll like see a video of them or see them live and then no one knows the fucking words. So like is this song actually being streamed this many times by people
Yeah,
or is it just like the whole algorithm playlist thing that's getting the stream? So it hinders the way you think about it for sure, but I just try to go on like what's our favorite songs to play, and then when we play them live, like what's getting a cool pop, like what's the favorite. Like I think someone told me the highest streaming song off the new record was Swallowing Swords, but and I love playing that song. But like we play it live a couple times and like it's not getting the same pop as Belly of the Beast or Everyone's Enemy or NYHC or Truth Hurts or so
yeah, those.
someone lying. You know what I mean? Like it just somebody's lying. So yeah, I don't. So at the end of the day, no, I don't. I have no fucking clue. I just like at the end of the day, I just want to be like, these are the songs we like playing a lot. If it's dead for one or two songs, then so be it. But I'm gonna fucking play it.
Right, just having fun with it.
Yeah,
Now, on the new record, is there a song that you have not played yet live?
yeah. A few. Unfortunately, I'm fucking bummed about it. So we haven't played Fear in the Streets live. We haven't played Atlas live. We haven't
Mhm.
played Distorted Dreams live, and we haven't played Crossed Off live.
Okay,
But we're gonna play Crossed Off at LDB.
that's
So
coming up
that'll
this
be the
weekend,
first.
right?
Yeah, this weekend. So that'll be the
It'll
first
be
time we're
past when this
sharing.
comes out, but it's this weekend for the
Yeah,
purposes of
yeah.
this recording, right? Okay.
So I'm excited to do that. I want to play Atlas live. It's just like some of them are just longer songs, and I don't want to risk like not risk, but like I don't want people to be like, oh, it's a deep cut, and like it ruins the vibe or whatever. But we're gonna play them all for sure.
Cool. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're super proud of them, obviously, right?
yeah,
So you
hundred
want
percent.
to do it. Are there songs you wish you played more live that you just because you can't fit everything in now? You got your
Yeah,
catalog's growing, you know.
yeah. It's too fucking much. Um,
Wait till the next record comes out. You're gonna have to
yeah,
like
right.
choose from there. So yeah, there's
I
songs you wish you
know.
played. Mhm.
Um, I wish we could play like a song off the demo and then a song off the first EP. Like if
Mhm.
we could mix in a demo song and a first EP song with other shit too, like that'd be awesome. But like I don't want to leave anything out that people are really feeling right now too.
Mhm.
It's fucking annoying.
Yeah,
There's only
it's
so
like
much you could do with a 20-minute set when our songs are that long.
right. You're right. You have what, maybe 8 songs? Oh, if
Eight.
I'm pushing it, yeah,
It's like usually 8 or 9.
yeah,
And then even when we do 9, it's like sometimes, because people be running a tight ship now if we're not headlining, and they'd be like, yo, like I think we did 8 songs at UB and it still came out to 2 minutes over
yeah.
our 20-minute
And
set.
that's you probably moving too. It's just the way it is, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, what out of the on the new album? What songs do you know? Some songs you know when you're right, you just know, kind of thing. What songs are you like? Okay, like you could see being in the set for 5 years from now.
I mean, I think even based off the reaction of them live from the jump, I think like Belly the Beast and Everyone's Enemy are like, which is great because those are two of my favorites on the
Mhm.
record. I that and NYHC. Those two
Yeah,
and NYHC are like I don't see ever leaving the set list ever. I mean, but that's just like why I hate With Another Life. That's just like another song we'll never take out.
yeah. Nah, that's great, man. So,
Yeah.
what? To move over, a couple more questions here. What advice would you give to yourself when you were younger? It could be professionally, personally, whatever it could be.
Oh. Uh Shut up. When I was when I was young, I had too loud of a mouth for sure when I was younger. I burned a lot of bridges. I made a lot of enemies. I mean, like, but just blindly. Like I was like they're speaking your mind, and then I was just like kind of doing too much for sure. Like, and to the point where I made a lot of things hard for like my first band that was touring a lot. Like I just made enemies everywhere we went. It was a fucking mess. So yeah, I'd say like, maybe shut your mouth and open your ears a little more.
Well, so where do you see yourself? And we talked about the last 5 years really with the band. Where do you see yourself and the band in the next 5 years?
That's a mystery all in itself. I mean,
Hmm.
hey, if we can still be in 5 years relevant to anyone, where we can like play every now and again and people care, that's fucking awesome. If we fall off next year, it is what it is. I mean, hardcore is like a very fickle kind of shit. Like I was even bugging out for this release where I was like, yo, Another Life got like props, but what if they hate the second LP? The sophomore slump is a very real thing for hardcore bands. I was like, they could very well just not like the record, you
Hmm.
know? So, like I said, if people keep rocking with us, that's cool. If they don't, that's fine. I'm just
Hmm.
gonna like take advantage of as many opportunities as we can.
You're in the moment. That's a great way to be
Exactly.
with it. Really,
Yeah.
that's even though I asked you the question of not being in the moment, your answer was in the moment, and that's why that's great, and that's the thing with this record though. It has like there was a shit ton of buzz before it came out, and it's continued, and it's even with it out. So that's why it's a great record.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
yeah. So I have a bunch of questions here. First thing that comes to mind: uh, favorite show that you've ever been to?
Favorite show I've ever been to? Oh my God. Damn, that's hard. Favorite show I've ever been to? There's so many. Oh man. Um, so many early ones with like hold a very close place in my heart. Like all the early shows when I was a kid, like H2O and Sick of It All and Cro-Mags.
Mhm.
Like whether it was at like the first the first Knitting Factory or um like my first Super Bowl of hardcore right before it got turned into Black and Blue Bowl at Studio B. That was crazy. Um, a lot of early memory shows. Like even when I was in high school and I started like kind of finding shows on my own, more so like the more underground of hardcore, like bands I would find on my own without my cousin, like bands like Trash Talk and Blacklisted and Ceremony,
Mhm.
where I would see them in like kind of like fucked up dumps around the city, like like in a little like you ever heard of the Cake Shop
I've heard of it. Yeah.
on Ludlow? Yeah, so like I saw like Ceremony there with Blacklisted, and that was crazy. Or like Trash Talk at the Acheron before the Acheron got taken down. Like a lot of shows like that. I don't think I could really put a pin in my favorite show. That's too out of a
Mhm.
question.
Just a group of what you said. Yeah. As
Yeah.
I asked you that too. I ask people that, and I'm like thinking, like a few different. I
Do
don't
you,
even
do you
know.
get do you get people like off rip like yeah this is my
They do, and
yeah
then they'll text me, DM me after, like, no, actually, I meant this. It's funny, so it's like almost in the moment you
I'm the
think of it.
same way
Yeah,
like yeah I'm the same way like if you were to ask me and I would give you one definitive answer I know I'm gonna be like I fucking hate that answer.
it's not it. So I'll make it even more difficult. And because you guys have toured, you guys played so much, but I guess maybe I'll put it away. I guess a favorite show you played as a band that really was, and there's probably been a lot. You've toured with some awesome bands, and you still have a lot to come. But show that really stuck out. You're like, oh, like this
Damn.
one was a good one.
There's definitely a couple that I think of right off the bat. The Fury show that we played at Gold Sounds, that was like super special for us. The record release show was super special for us. When we played in Indonesia, because like when we played in Jakarta, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before, and I was deathly ill. I was suffering from like a really bad something virus that was
Oh,
destroying
that's
me.
nice.
And like, but my adrenaline took me through the whole set,
Mhm.
and like the whole room knew the words. It was crazy. It was something I've never experienced before. You could hear them sing the words over the music. I felt like I was in fucking Metallica, bro. It was crazy. And so like that was just something I've, always thought I would never have a reaction like that in my life in a band that I was in. Or like the first time we played Cologne, Germany, like that was another kind of reaction like that where you could hear them singing over the music and it was just kind of like I took a second to get out of the venue. It was like the hottest show we ever played. I took a second to just like collect myself outside the venue and I looked at Peter on some like corny shit, but I was like, yo, we're really out here in Germany, like playing hardcore music and like they care. Like and it was like just kind of one of those moments where it's like the first moment of like whoa, like people really connect with some shit that we made in a big way. And that's like it's just, stuff like that for sure.
Nothing better than it. There's really
Yeah.
nothing better than it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for real.
Favorite tour you've been on?
Ooh, Japan.
Hmm.
I think just going to Japan was like that's another thing where it's like, yo, my stupid hardcore band got me to see Japan. I never thought that I would do that in my whole entire life. So yeah, definitely Japan.
Cool. What's your favorite New York venue? Could be closed, open, whatever.
Right now, it's Gold Sounds.
Yeah.
Broad, like, bold statement to make, but I believe Gold Sounds is our generation CBGBs. You can quote me on
Okay. Here's another one. Top three favorite hardcore albums.
that. I usually have this like right off the rip. It's gonna be Killing Time Brightside. It's gonna be Chromax Age of Quarrel, and it's gonna be Sick of It All, Blood, Sweat, No Tears.
Three great ones. I have to cut off a question now after you just said that. So I
Oh
was going to
no,
ask you
why?
because it was all right. So, Killing Time, Brightside, or the Method. So I was going to ask, even though it's
Oh, I
obviously,
mean, listen, not enough people put respect on the method.
Method's had
It's
some
got
really good
tracks.
tracks, really good songs on that.
Personal Hardcore is one of my favorite Killing Time songs.
Mhm.
So, but it's Brightside all day.
Yeah, Brightside's an absolute classic. What did you listen to last?
Like
Your
recently.
last band or artist you listened to?
Oh my God, what did I put on? Oh,
I
I just listened to the new Big Boy EP
okay.
like a couple hours ago.
What's funny about that is I've asked that to and I've had to do probably the same thing. Like you could remember something back from you were throwing off shows and stuff like that back in the day, and then it's like something you listened to like 20 minutes ago. You can't.
Oh yeah.
A band or artist you like that may surprise people.
Mm. I feel like I'm very vocal about most stuff I like. Might surprise people. Um, mm, mm. I'm sure I have some bullshit guilty pleasure. Like maybe like My Chemical Romance might
I
surprise
like
like
that. Mhm.
people. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
probably that.
Scratch the surface or built to last.
Yo, it's obviously scratched the surface, but like not enough people put respect on later era Sigvidal catalog because it's got
Mhm.
bangers. Like when I
Oh
was
yeah,
a kid, I think when I was a kid, Built to Last, like the first 5 tracks on that record was like I couldn't believe it.
it's
Like
incredible.
Us versus Them, Good Looking Out, like those
Uh,
songs were like my Bible when I was a kid. I love those songs.
Scratch the Surface is scratch the surface,
I
right?
mean,
To me,
yeah,
but
scratch the
Built to
surface.
Last though is like you described is so it's
It's
great.
different, but
Yeah,
it's just I think if you find it when you're younger, it like hits you in a really special way.
yeah, that's a great album. So you're a sneaker guy. You have a
I,
lot. Yeah, this is
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
tough. Your favorite pair of sneakers that you have, your go-to. Now I know it has. You have the different sneakers, the colors that go with what you're wearing and stuff, but favorite pair that you go. It's like a
Fire
go-to.
Red, Fire Red Fours.
Okay.
The
No.
Mars, specifically Mars Fire Red Fours, because that was the first shoe where I saw a picture of the Fire Red Fours with the Mars Blackman little signature on it. And it was before I even like was really into shoes like that. Like I remember I always wanted cool shoes when I was a kid, but my mom like was not down with me getting expensive shoes at all. Like I
Mhm.
remember like even when I was skating, I had to like beg for like any kind of skate shoe and it would always be like the lowest kind. But and then as soon as I had my own money, I was like, yo, I'm getting a pair of Fire Red 4s finally. And they were like beat up too because I had to get them on eBay because I couldn't
Uh,
afford like the really good ones. But like I remember I got these beater ass eBay Fire Red 4s and I was fucking in love with that shoe.
mhm.
Yeah.
What do you know what? I just thought, so this is not really like first thing that comes to mind, but what do you do when you go on tour? You're not taking, because you got, yeah, right? Or do you take, do you
Yo,
have like
this is
four
yo,
bags of sneakers and stuff? Or you,
this is fucked up because like I it makes me look like I'm a fucking prima donna. But like yo, I've changed so much in the course of like when it comes to clothing. Like when I used to tour, it was like same hoodie, same pair of pants, same hat every fucking day. Then when I started making my own bread, I was like, yo, I'm gonna finally fucking get myself to look not like a fucking piece of shit. So it kind of all followed like a snowball effect. I like started getting my own money. I was like really starting to get obsessed with polo and Jordans, and I was like, yeah, it's time. So now my girl actually like recently bought me a hat holder, like a hat travel case,
okay.
and a shoe travel case that fits 2 pairs of shoes in it. So now I have my bag with my clothes, I have my hats in my hat case, and I have 2 pairs of shoes extra with me.
Well, you guys are on the road a lot. So all kidding, you need that, you know?
Listen,
So
I like having my options now.
yeah, you need that. It's awesome. You have a nice, though, you have awesome selection back there.
It's a
You
pop.
guys now, it is, but you guys as a band, you're 7, 8 years old now. You're not, you're new, you're not new anymore, right? You know,
Yeah, it's
so
fucked
what's some
up.
your favorite new bands out now?
Oh, so many.
Mm. And you've seen a lot in different scenes and stuff too. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we just did a run with Echo Chamber right after United Blood. That's got to be one of my favorite bands right now. Like I watch them every night. I mean, it was only 6 nights, 7 nights for sure, but like every night I was like blown away by them every night.
mm,
Um, Echo Chamber's great. This band Freeze Out from Texas is like one of my favorite demos in the past like 10 years.
mm,
Um, Burning Lord from Boston. The LP they did is incredible. Uh, this band Bazooka from New York City. Really cool. It reminds me of like they're weird in the way that like every New York hardcore band used to be weird and like put their own spin from outside shit. Like it makes me think of that. Like the way that
mm.
bands from back in the day would like just make a new kind of sound just from outside stuff and but it's New York hardcore, you know what I mean?
Cool. Awesome.
Um yeah, it's a lot of great new bands right now.
Cool. So last one here, man, and then I'll wrap it up. You know, and then we'll talk. We'll chat it up after.
Yeah.
But your favorite scene outside of New York? And you can
Damn.
have a few.
I mean Richmond, Virginia right now. I mean it's always been like a second home for me, but like
Mm,
Richmond has a dope scene right now. A lot of young kids who just like get it. Um, they just like, have they just got the spirit right now. They know what to do. Um, Surprisingly, the DC show we played, I think, like from the looks of it and the way that, I think they have a dope scene. Chicago has like a really cool tight knit scene. I think like hardcore outside of America is like so crazy and like they just care a lot. Like I said, like the scenes in Southeast Asia are like some of like the most united, like in Southeast Asia and Japan, like they're just like they fucking care. They care a lot. You know what I mean? It's cool to see.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Any last thing you want to say before we end it off?
No, this interview was awesome. I appreciate you having me on, man, for real. And
Oh, of course.
I'm so sorry that I blabbed on so long for every single song explanation.
No, not at all. And it gave a story to each song and showed everything that you guys put into it. And the album kills, man. So it was
Thank you
awesome
again,
hearing about
for
it.
real. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so hang tight here. I'll end it off, and then we'll talk in a bit. Uh, Thank you for listening to the What Lies Ahead podcast, which is available on all streaming platforms. Go save the What Lies Ahead podcast playlist on Spotify that features all bands that were on the show. For more information on future episodes, you can go to my Instagram account and follow us at What Lies Ahead _podcast, and on Facebook by searching What Lies Ahead podcast. See you on the next episode.